Oh boy, I knew we would get to this point. I knew we would get to this point. But before I go any further with this whole debacle about what's going on with Final Fantasy 16, I appreciate all the subscribers that I recently gained from that that last upload of Warcraft 3 Reforged. Like it's been popping off. You know, so thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the shenanigans. Nevertheless, there is something we need to address. Something that we shouldn't really have to, but it's 2022. Diversity in Final Fantasy 16. Now, apparently, people who we honestly shouldn't even be listening to begin with, we should pay them no mind. They have some things to say about Final Fantasy 16 that's on the horizon. They aren't happy with the lack of diversity. And of course, see, when a game, I knew it would reach this point where Final Fantasy gets too big for its own head, and now since all the eyes are looking at the game, people are noticing, hey man, you know, diversity, inclusion, all that, all these trigger words that mean nothing, that should not be in the forefront of, you know, the heads of game developers, which is why I like, you know, Yoshi P in the team, because they honestly don't care about that fuck shit. They just worry about telling a great story. Literally pulled Final Fantasy 14 out of the ashes and made it to what it is today. I mean, what can you say about that? That's why I like them. So, but we're gonna check out a video by Zepla addressing this whole controversy, since I usually go to, you know, Zepla and others for, you know, just to keep up, you know, what's going on in the community. Let's go.
There's a topic that
I don't know why it started off like that. It's very fuzzy.
It's been fairly controversial.
Why is he doing this?
About Yoshi P and FF16.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know what it is, but I definitely would like to address it and talk about it and share some perspectives on it. It was an IGN interview. Exclusive FF16 developers open up about Game of Thrones comparisons, side quests, and representation. So
here we go.
One of the questions that he was asked in here, POC representation, in regards to diversity in the game, can we expect to see black characters in Final Fantasy 16 or people of color?
What? In a story-based game like Final Fantasy, you're honestly gonna ask, are we gonna see black? Bro, I don't give a shit. See, this is what game developers need to get through their heads. No regular gamer like myself gives a shit about seeing black characters, about seeing Asian characters, about seeing Middle Eastern people. Let's just say that. Middle Eastern. Fuck. We don't care about that. All we care about is good story, a good game that makes sense, is fun to play, has some replayability, is challenging. That's it. That's what we buy the game for. This is gonna be a long one. I'm sorry, guys.
White characters in general. To clarify a bit more, there's been discussion around the trailers to date featuring mostly white characters, and I wanted to get clarity on whether we can expect the final game to be more diverse. Now, I've heard some people criticize this as a question being asked. Because sometimes these questions are asked not with the best intentions. Sometimes these types of questions are asked to, like, get some kind of, you know, controversial thing that they can sensationalize.
Right.
Sell.
Exactly.
It's going to be, like, hot topic and all that. But other times, these questions are asked because they need to be asked. And so we don't know what the intent was of IGN in asking the question. But I think that in general, given the way that articles are pushed,
bro, even the chat saying this is bait, bro.
It's probably good to have a little bit of skepticism and cynicism about that, and always ask yourself, what is the intent behind these questions? But I still do think that the question does need to be asked, and Yoshi P should be able to answer any kind of question about his game and his product.
Sure.
So he said, This is a difficult question. I am going to read the whole thing. You had a very long response, but not one that was unexpected, seeing as diversity in entertainment media has become a much discussed topic as of late. The answer I have, however, may end up being disappointing to some, depending on individual expectations.
If it's disappointing to some, that means it's good for most. That's how I'm seeing it. If Yoshi P is responding like this already, saying that, hey, you're going to kind of be disappointed in the fact that we're not going to lean so much in diversity, but more so telling good stories. Bro, hey. See, this is why Yoshi is the homie. Let's continue. Let's see what...
Concept.
Let me see the full thing.
Of development has always heavily featured medieval Europe, incorporating historical, cultural, political, and anthropological standards that were prevalent at the time. When deciding on a setting that was best suited to the story we wanted to tell, the story of a land beset by the Blight, we felt that rather than create something on a global scale, it was necessary to limit the scope to a single landmass, one geographically and culturally isolated from the rest of the world in an age without airplanes, television,
Okay.
or telephones. So this was his first point, saying that, well, this is the design concept that heavily features medieval Europe. I don't want to sit here and take apart everything he said before I'm finished reading his full reply. But I will just say it off the cuff here that I thought this was pretty dumb reason. I feel like FF16 is not like medieval Europe, but we'll get to that in a minute. Do the underlying...
Is it? I mean, from the trailers I've seen and reacted to, I probably need to see more. I've seen, like, you know, swords. Of course, we got, you know, the primals or the icons, whatever you want to call them. I've seen swords. I've seen, like, knights. I've seen, you know, castles. Wasn't that medieval Europe? Or am I tripping? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I mean, folks who, you know, are subscribed to my channel and watch, well, and play FF14, like, let me know. Like, I could be wrong. I mean, post me is gonna, of course, do my research and actually see, you know, like, I'm pretty sure there are castles in Europe, but again, I could be wrong. Cause see, I'm mostly thinking of like kind of the Scottish areas,
geographical
or Ireland.
And geopolitical constraints of this setting, Valisthea was never going to be realistically as diverse as, say, a modern day Earth. That does make sense. Or even Final Fantasy XIV, that has an entire planet and moon worth of nations, races, and cultures at its disposal. Now, this I do understand. He wanted to create an isolated world, and so the isolated nature of this realm, however, does end up playing a large part in the story, and is one of the reasons Valisthea's fate is tied to the rest of the world. Ultimately, we felt that while incorporating ethnic diversity into Valisthea was important, an over-incorporation into this single corner of a much larger world could end up causing a violation of those narrative boundaries we originally set for ourselves. Now, I feel like this was a thing that you could interpret a couple of different ways. I'm not sure exactly what he meant by this, because he says that they did feel like it was important to incorporate ethnic diversity, but they didn't want to over-incorporate it into this isolated environment. So is he saying that they did? Like, there is going to be some? I
got it. See, that wasn't even hard to, like, break down. The homie Yoshi is basically saying, okay, look, even though they feel as though diversity is, you know, an important topic or whatnot, they want to please some people, even though they shouldn't. Fuck them. These are the people that don't even play your game. Fuck them. But they're making it to where it's diversity is it's there, but it's not the forefront. It's not out there in the open. Whereas, okay, you're like openly and blatantly changing things to fit a narrative, to check a box. This is what gamers hate, and this is what gamers reject. Because when you start pushing these kind of politics in gaming, people don't like it. This is why Stormblood failed as much as it did. I mean, I guess in terms it was successful, but a majority of the community, they don't like Stormblood because Stormblood was too political. Like, see, Yoshi, the homie Yoshi knows what he's doing. 10 years of working on Final Fantasy. And who knows what else he's been doing before that, bro. But that's all he's saying. He's saying it's gonna be like there's gonna be some elements of diversity, but they're not gonna make it the main thing. They're not gonna make it the main dish, the main meal. It's gonna be like an entree or something. That's all he's saying. That's the only thing he's saying.
It's not an over representation of lots of different backgrounds.
Right, because over representation is what makes people reject it.
Take that either way. It's kind of vague there.
No, it's not.
So I don't really know what that means.
I figured it out.
They did feel like it was important, but they didn't want to over incorporate it. So, take that however you want. The story we are telling is fantasy, yes, but it's also rooted in reality. Conversely, the Final Fantasy series of games have always inherently dealt with conflict and struggle, especially between the empowered and those used or exploited by those privileged few, a prominent trend in human history.
Right.
And a game that, by design, allows players to experience that conflict and struggle firsthand through dynamic, realistic battles, it can be challenging to assign distinctive ethnicities to either antagonist or protagonist without triggering audience preconceptions.
Yep.
Inviting unwarranted
Yep.
speculation, and ultimately stoking flames of
Yes!
controversy.
Yes!
The best part of pulling inspiration directly from history,
Homie, Yoshi knows what he's doing.
that it allows us to revisit and re-examine our own past while also allowing us to create something new. So this is another thing that he's been pretty criticized for.
This man knows what he's doing. Is
the statement that for some, like if you put in someone who is tan-skinned, who's just not pale, then this could invite criticism and controversy. You can see how that could make some people feel uncomfortable. But like, okay, so just by someone looking like me in the game, that's gonna be political. That's gonna be a statement. That's gonna be distracting. You're not gonna be able to tell the story you want to tell. Like that's gotta.
What the fuck is Zepla talking about?
Look,
hold on. What was you about to say?
I don't see. Okay, well, let's just keep on.
Okay, before we go any further, look, I like the homie Zepla, but sometimes the kid is just fucking oblivious. Yoshi P is basically saying if they incorporate too much diversity from any ethnic group, they're going to trigger another one for saying, oh, we were lacking in this game. Why was this group represented so much and not this group? Then you're going to have another group that's going to bitch and complain and say the same thing. Hey, why, even if the roles were like reversed. So let's say blacks, Chinese. Let's say there are more Chinese than blacks. Okay, now the blacks are going to complain, saying, "Hey, we didn't get we didn't feel as though we were represented in in 16." Flip scenarios. It's the Chinese bitching. Now flip the scenario to Hispanics. This shit keeps going, bro. Like, oh my god. And see, that's the thing. That's the ultimate downfall when you mess with diversity, because you can never please everyone. This is why Yoshi P isn't touching it. So many games have failed and crumbled because of this one thing: diversity. Listen, it's great to have different races, different cultures, different everything. We have a bunch of that in 14. But people shouldn't be so hell-bent on that. This is a fantasy video game. Now, like Yoshi said, he wants to base kind of like this 16 in a somewhat reality-esque, standpoint. But at the end of the day, it's a fantasy. I don't know what so many people get out of feeling as though, oh, a person needs to look like me so I can relate to them. That is the most dumbest argument. That is the most dumbest logic I ever heard. I can't tell you the amount of times. I can't tell you the amount of heroes, the amount of superheroes that me and my friends were growing up that we relate to. Or even like anime characters, whether it's Goku, Piccolo, Gohan, Vegeta, whether it's Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Flash, like people that didn't even look like us, people that didn't even exist, but we can relate to them. We can inspire to be like these characters, like these superheroes, like these icons. This is gonna be a long fucking video. God, man.
We simply want to focus to be less on the outward appearance of our characters and more on who they are as people. People who are complex and diverse in their natures, backgrounds, beliefs, personalities, and motivations. People whose stories we can resonate with.
Right.
There is
stories we can resonate with.
Okay. Diversity that, while not all-encompassing, is synergistic with the setting we've created and is true to the inspirations from which we're drawing. So here again, I think this ties back to what he said a little bit before. To me, I took this as, yeah, there will be some diversity in Valstate.
Right.
We don't know to what extent.
Who gives a shit?
Not all encompassing.
I'm there for the story. I'm there for the gameplay. Who gives a shit?
Maybe there will be like some diversity at all. Okay, like not. I don't know. It's a little bit vague, and it was a bit of a word salad. It was a pretty long answer, but there was a couple things in here that I felt like he did get some valid criticism about. But before I get into that, I do just want to say off the bat that the knee-jerk reaction that some people had to this answer, like screaming that he's racist, has been really fucking obnoxious to read.
Yeah.
Like people who have been like, oh my god,
imagine that.
Racist. This answer is not okay. And like, it's...
Can't please everyone. Yoshi P knows this shit.
Given everything that we know about Yoshi P, I think is pretty out of line, and I don't think that Yoshi P is racist. I don't think that he's creating a game to uplift white supremacy or any shit like that.
Wow, a Japanese person uplifting white supremacy.
However,
bro, it's fucking said, bro, in the game, in Final Fantasy 14, your character can be any color that you can think of. I've seen black Lalafels. I've seen pale white Rogadins. I've seen fucking, it's in everything in between. Fucking brown, fucking silver, fucking orange, fucking purple, pink. Bro, these people, man.
I definitely do think that there are a couple things in here that are worth discussing, and that from like thinking about representation in games overall, how it's talked about, and like some valid criticisms with the way that he talked about it, which was a little bit awkward. I do feel like a lot of these topics are just not discussed openly in Japan. Japan is
based
been for much of its history fairly xenophobic. That's a bit of an ugly truth about Japan, and
also kind of true.
I'm not saying that people in Japan are racist. I'm just saying that like they don't always know how to navigate these conversations like we do in the West.
You know why? Because the Japanese people are more focused on fucking winning at the end of the day. That's all it is. They just like their shit to be their shit. That's all it is. While we're over here sticking our thumbs so far up our asses, worrying about dumb shit like diversity. And look, again, it's good that you can have, you know, different races at the end of the day, but that shouldn't be the main thing that people relate to. But whatever, you got fucking weirdos out there that will do and think that. But at the end of the day, the one thing I can always give the Japanese people for is creating incredible stories. This is why I like more so Japanese / indie developers more than shit that we have here in the West. This is why I prefer anime than anything I see on TV. Now look, you also got the plot, you know? I'm a man of culture, you got the plot. I'll admit that. But at the end of the day, it's still story-based things that I love. And all this other shit that doesn't get in the way. Bro, we're 9 minutes in, bro.
And I think that
I'm sorry, guys. This is gonna be long.
Doesn't know how to recognize his own biases and work on them, and that's something that he can and definitely should work on, and just think about in more
You know, the funny thing is, I believe most of these characters in Final Fantasy 14 are Japanese. But you know, I guess since they look white,
use it as a learning moment. I definitely think that he can. Now, some people his game. He's allowed to make any kind of game he wants. He's allowed to make any kind of world he wants. It is a product, though. I think that's actually Joe Cat pointed this out. Joe Cat made a tweet about this the other day. In response to this,
oh, the homie
made a really good point. Is that yes, it is a piece of art for sure, but it is also a product. Yeah, he said. Okay, let me just read all of Joe Cat's reply. He said the setting and lore are made up. It can be whatever you want it to be, and it isn't held back by any real-world limitations than what you choose.
Right.
That's how fiction works.
Yep.
The real world doesn't have magic and marbles either.
Right.
It's that way because you decide it. Yeah, the whole thing about the medieval stuff, I'll get into that in a second. That was a really stupid thing for him to say, I think.
I don't know about that.
Anyone says no, it does not mean calling him a sexist, racist, imperialist is okay. Just an unfortunate misstep by a stranger who makes games and we, a consumer who buys his product.
That's all it is.
Joe Cat said
A guy that makes fucking games.
Service we can pay for or not. I tend to think about Yoshi P as a friend. I don't know if I can ever not do that.
No, look, I like the homie Yoshi, but he's not a friend. We don't know him. We never been to his house.
Has some things to learn and some things to reflect on. Yes, he can make, just like we all do, by the way. Okay, I'm not singling him out. Like, everybody has shit that they can learn and they can reflect on, and like biases that they can address within themselves. Like, nobody's perfect, okay? And yes, he can make whatever he wants to make, and we're allowed to criticize it. He's allowed to ignore it. We're allowed to criticize that. It's a product, not a personal art piece, purely for self-expression. There's artistry in it, but feedback matters, and that's a really good point that he made in response to the people that said, oh, it's, you know, this is his artistic work, and he can do whatever he wants with. Yes, he can. He absolutely can, but he should also expect the players and consumers who will buy this. And
okay, yeah. So if an artist makes things not out of, you know, their artistic mind, but to please people, is it truly art? I mean, yeah, of course you're gonna have feedback and everything. Like I said, you can't please everyone. So, like, where does that put Yoshi P? Because, like, I always feel as though art is an expression of the soul. And it's one of the most positive things I can see about being, you know, artistic. But when you're constrained and held down and worried about the feedback that you might get, like, you don't reach that full potential, I don't believe. Now, look, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But if you're always there worrying about, oh, what people are going to think about if I draw this, if I do this, if I include this, if I don't include this, are you really an artist? Like, I don't know, man.
not be surprised by that. And I know that a lot of times criticizing Yoshi is hard. Like, nobody wants to criticize Yoshi. But sometimes doing that can be healthy. Because it can be healthy for him, it can be healthy for the games. Because I really do think, like, I genuinely do think Yoshi P just wants to make a game that people will enjoy and people will find fun.
That's it.
I really do believe that about him. And I don't think that he would ever intentionally, like, make a game unwelcoming or, like, make people feel like they shouldn't be playing it or anything like that. Because, well, again, he did say that there is diversity in it. It's just, so we don't know how much, but he didn't say no.
And who gives a shit?
Another thing, though, the myth about the whole argument that he made about the medieval European setting. This was honestly cringe for him to say that because it's so stupid on the surface of it. Like, I guess I missed the part in medieval history where Joan of Arc transformed into Shiva. Or the part where, like, did Charlemagne invent electricity by transforming into Ramu? That's so stupid. That's so fucking stupid.
Yoshi P never said it was a Roman comparison. They were just using medieval Europe as a reference, as a starting point.
It's stupid, like, whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him, it's stupid in both ways. And then
I can see how it was
people are
misconstrued, but to say
famous,
it's stupid, I don't know.
becoming historians, and they're making all these, like, there's the people on one side who have been like, well, there was never any black people or no people of color in Europe at all in the medieval times. And then there's other people who are like, well, they were everywhere all the time. And I think that both of those were not true. But it doesn't matter. Like, we shouldn't have to study history to justify someone who is tan.
Obviously we do if this is coming into question.
Tan colored to be in a fantasy world. And maybe there aren't. Maybe there aren't. We don't know that there's not. I think that there might be. People have been like, well, there's the desert kingdom, and it's very sunny there. So it makes sense that if it's very sunny there, and there's people who live there, then they're probably more tan. So, I mean, probably that would make sense. That would make sense. Is that the case? We don't really know. But the whole thing about this is extremely stupid. But the other thing that I would take more of an issue with personally was the idea in here that any tan or darker skinned character could be disruptive to the narrative. That it could stop you from telling the story you want to tell. Now, this makes no sense to me.
I already explained this. it's like man, it feels like I'm running in circles with this video. We're only 15. I got more than 15 more minutes. But again, when dealing with diversity, you can't please everyone. If you lean into diversity, you're never going to lean far enough to where you satisfy everyone. Because there are too many ethnicities, too many groups of people that want to be represented. And not all those people even play your fucking game.
It makes no sense to you.
Bro, if people are already worrying about diversity instead of asking Yoshi P about what's going to happen in the story, then what do you think the motherfucker's going to do, man? He's going to reclude in his shell even more. Like, if you guys pressure a man to do something, do you think that man is obviously going to do it? Now, sure, it may work. You may get peer pressured when you're younger. You're 16, 17, 18, even in your 20s. But once a motherfucker reach up in age, the smart people, once they reach up in age, you can't peer pressure them. You can't do that shit anymore. That shit doesn't work. Fuck you. They have their own life, their own shit to deal with. So by doing this, by pressing Yoshi P on this matter, instead of saying, hey, what can we expect out of Final Fantasy 16? Because we know 14, it's great, it's awesome. The critically acclaimed MMO, with, Realm Reborn, and, get the free, you can have a trial all the way to level 6, all that jazz. Instead of them going based off that, we're going to go based off diversity. We're going to ask some questions about diversity, because obviously a man that...
game that Yoshi P operates. He operates Final Fantasy 14, which has one of the best narratives of all time in games. It's why I really felt like, what the fuck is he saying in this? What is he saying? But we have F14. There's a ton of amazing characters that are darker skinned, like we just had. And even some new ones in the more recent patches. Like we have Arithonius, I think Laha Bread, like Hephaestus. He said it's an over-incorporation into this...
But who gives a shit? Who gives a... Bro, I played all the way from A Realm Reborn to Endwalker, and not once did I think, wow, man, wow, there are so many white people. Bro, when you have cataclysmic fucking shit going down in the story, that is the last. That doesn't even come on your radar. Man, I'm trying to speed through this, but I have so much to say. And Zepla's kind of pissing me off.
But I guess it's something that I think people have heard in other contexts, and that's another reason why people have reacted so badly in a lot of cases to it is because I actually recently watched Rings of Power. There was a big discussion about this with Rings of Power. A lot of people, there were people who were upset. Now you can criticize Rings of Power for like not being true to the source material and all that, but all that aside, there were people who were really upset that an elf would be black in that show. And there were people who were like really awful about that and were just straight up racist about that, and it was pretty fucking gross.
See, because they know when you force diversity into shows, this shit doesn't work. This is the whole point of Yoshi P not trying to bring that shit to the forefront. Why do you think they did that, Zepla? You think they did that because that was the best actor for the job? No, they did that to check a fucking box. That's it. That's the only thing black, and that shit irks me so much, man. But see, I don't want to get political. This is my gaming channel, bro. But I don't want to get political. But man, let's keep going.
And I watched the show. I thought that he was absolutely amazing actor. I loved Rings of Power. I loved the role.
I heard it sucked ass. I heard from a lot of people sucked ass. But who knows, though? I'm gonna have to watch myself.
I didn't feel like it took away from the narrative at all. I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. I had a great time watching that. And so to me, I felt like that. It's just it sounds like bullshit to me. The idea that someone is not the right skin color, can't tell your story, that's stupid. That's bullshit. But I don't want to just say.
Let me hear that again.
I also wanted to.
Let me hear that again.
I wanted to. That someone is not the right skin color, can't tell your story, that's stupid. That's bullshit. But that someone is not the right skin color, can't tell your story, that's stupid. That someone is not the right skin color, can't tell your story, that's stupid.
You know, it's almost like Zepla didn't even read the article. Yoshi P isn't trying to say he's going to stray away from diversity. The only thing the man is he's trying to tiptoe on this very fucking thin line of keeping shit on the straight and narrow. Doing enough to appease people. But if you push it to the forefront, if you shove it in their face, bro. Let me ask you guys a question. Females, shit, that's I have a very tiny audience of females. For the females that watch this, for like that 1% of you guys, hi. We're gonna get graphical. Let me tell you how diversity works and why you have to walk a very thin line with it, and why Yoshi P is doing all of this. Why he says that, you know, if you bring some ethnicities in, then it's not going to be so much you can't tell the story, but people are going to see that and not the story. People are going to focus on that but not the story. But let me tell you what's wrong with diversity. Ladies, have you ever been for those of you who have a boyfriend, husband, have you ever been pleasing your man, and you know you're kind of, again, we're gonna get graphical, but have you ever been, you know, like sucking him off and everything, you know, doing the whole sloppy Joe? Now what happens when he pushes his dick too far back down your throat? You gag. It's a reflex. Diversity is the same thing. If you stick it down people's throats, they will gag. They're going to spit it back up. They're going to reject it. This is the thin line that Yoshi P is trying to walk. It's not so much that, oh, if he puts certain races in, he won't be able to tell the story. No. Zepla's completely conflating the argument. Is that if he leans into it, it's not going to be good enough. People are going to look at that and not the actual story of 16. Bro, I'm tired, man. I am fucking tired.
I wanted to say, like, my own opinion. I also wanted to share some opinions from other people in the community. This is a rather long video, but it's really good, and I definitely feel like I should play it.
Hi, okay. I go by the name Gigabyte Online or Terabyte in Final Fantasy 14. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 since June of this year.
Hey, that's when I started.
600 hours in it since then. I think it's genuinely
that's
one
crazy.
of the best experiences experiences that you
amateur
have in gaming.
numbers.
And I have a lot of respect for Yoshi P and everyone that has a hand in developing the game and fostering the community. Almost everything in game, from dialogue to the way that high-end content is handled to even the way that the development team consistently communicates with the player base.
Right.
It really shows that they're putting a lot of effort in, and I really appreciate that. I think it's gone a really long way towards creating a community that I really enjoy being a part of.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that to...
That's true. Yoshi P gets a lot of love from us, from our community, for being so open and being so straightforward.
Wait, I'm watching
Okay,
your
these
reaction
kind problems that
of
are going
Zepla
on.
reacting
We
to this
always felt like
video.
we have this direct line
Jesus
with
Christ.
Yoshi, and he's really in tune with our thoughts. And I think that's one reason why it's important for us to talk about these things, that like how players perceive some of these things, so he can take it into account in creating the games that we all love.
Leads to like a heavy-handed explanation on why a specific portion of Yoshi P's recent interview with IGN has betrayed my trust, and that everyone that works with him should be ashamed, or like whatever. When I say that I appreciate the work that Yoshi P and the people around him put in, I'm saying that straight. I'm doing it to give you context, which will make a lot more sense when we get to the subject matter. Recently, IGN held an interview with the development team for the upcoming game Final Fantasy 16 regarding what players can expect from the game, and a lot of these questions were what you would expect out of an interview of this type. Yes.
You said, didn't Yoshi P take over FF16 later? If you already had the design set, would you rework that after? I'm not sure exactly when he took over control of FF16, first of all.
Oh, I thought he was always in control.
He's not a writer for the game. He probably didn't do the conceptualizing for the game, but we don't know how much of a role that he did play in that. And finally, I do want to reiterate that I'm not convinced that there is zero diversity in Valsea. He definitely says there is diversity in Valsea.
Again, who
he
gives a
just said
shit?
that they didn't over-incorporate different groups, and we don't know what that means. They said they wanted to incorporate some, but we don't know to what extent. It doesn't matter, because it's still good to have this discussion about why
Bro,
it matters. Okay.
Are we even talking about the story of 16? Are we?
No, there won't always be a parallel to past games. Standard stuff. But what's gotten a lot of people talking is the specific excerpt from the review regarding a question about the inclusion of black characters, or characters representing people of color, by Naoki Yoshida, known as Yoshi P, the producer of Final Fantasy 16, as well as the lead director of Final Fantasy 14. To quote the interviewer, in regard to diversity in game, can we expect to see black characters in Final Fantasy 16, or people of color, white characters in general? To clarify a bit more, there's been discussion around the trailers to date featuring mostly white characters.
Sartek, you said nobody's against diverse characters. There are some people who unfortunately are. I don't think that Yoshi...
See, people are not against... I mean, okay, yeah, I'm not stupid. There are some racist people. You can't do anything about that. But people who reject POCs in-game, they're not doing it because most of them aren't doing it. I would like to think. Honestly, again, this is opinion. I would like to think that most of them aren't doing it because they're black, they're Hispanic, they're Asian, and whatnot. They're rejecting it because people don't like when you systematically do things for brownie points, because it cuts back from the story. If you're just making a character black for the sake of them being black and in the show, that's a fucking token. How long we got in this fucking video?
I don't think he's against diverse characters, no.
I got
think
19
he's
minutes.
Or anything like that.
19 fucking minutes.
That's not the purpose of this discussion. People are against diverse characters where it doesn't make sense. An isolated continent will not be diverse. Japan wasn't diverse before it opened either. I think you'll find that this guy
That guy's beast.
Agrees with you in that. So just hear him out.
And I wanted to get clarity on whether we can expect the final game to be more diverse. Now, unfortunately, in the current day and age, asking questions like these about how we can expect the characters in the media that we consume to hear, it's fairly encumbered. A large part of that stems from the fact that it's not uncommon for questions like these to be used for motives that aren't exactly adequate.
So I really I respect the fact that he acknowledged the question and like the motives behind the question. Like obviously, as I said before, I think it's good that like Yoshi P should be able to answer any kind of question, but with media today and the way algorithms work, it's hard not to be cynical about the reason why they would choose a question like that. And it might not always be because, oh, they really care about having the representation in games, but more like wanting to have the sensationalist headline that they can push, right?
That's it. Zepla's she just answered. The fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god. She just answered. She just figured out the entire puzzle. Oh my god. Man, I'm.
Do you agree with it being asked in this context or not? The fact of the matter is that this is a question that touches on something that a lot of people care about in modern day. I won't say there's no way that I could be wrong, but I currently have no reason to believe that it was asked with the intent of defending. That being said, I'm still fairly disappointed in the response. Reading Yoshida's full response would be too long for the purposes of this video.
We already read it.
Summarizing.
We already read the whole response to it.
The full excerpt will be linked in the description. What I took from his response is that when creating Valstia, please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, the landmass that the plot of Final Fantasy 16 takes place in, instead of a global setting, in order to best express their narrative, they focus on one that takes place on a single landmass whose inhabitants are fractured, blighted, and isolated. And from the beginning of the development, aspects of medieval Europe were a huge focus due to the standards of the time being fitting for the story that they wanted to tell. While incorporating ethnic diversity was important, they felt that including too many aspects of different cultures would break the boundaries they'd set for themselves, in turn weakening the story that they wanted to tell. Instead of people focusing on the outward appearance of the characters, they focus on inner complexities and what drives them to be who they are. If I look at this from the standpoint of someone trying to create a narrative, in all honesty, I don't see a lot wrong with it. They wanted to tell a specific kind of story, and to do so, they leveraged aspects of fiction as well as historical accounts from a period of time that matched their vision. They focused less on outward appearance and more on character motivation. I don't think this response is worded.
Bro, this man needs more than 363 subscribers. I swear to God.
That,
how is it that he gets it? How is it that he understands?
This is a pretty hard question to answer.
Yeah, it's already done.
All of that, I'm like still pretty disappointed in the response. I think there's a common misconception that comes up when the topic of including black character traits is brought up, not just in video games but in media in general. People tie the idea of including traits like dark skin or curly hair to the representation of ethnicity. And by extension, when stories are based on cultures of a specific time period and region, they naturally wouldn't include references to cultures that wouldn't be present in that time and region. But like, that's the issue, or at least my issue. I can only really speak for myself, but my problem with the lack of black representation isn't one that stems from not representing a culture that I identify with. If you're writing a narrative in 17th century Spain, I don't really want you to incorporate aspects of 20th century America just because. Like, if you have reason to, that's fantastic, but otherwise it wouldn't make sense and it would probably diminish the narrative.
Boom.
But the problem with the lack of black representation in media...
I can stop the video right there.
Because black is not an ethnicity, it's a race. To belong to an ethnicity is to belong to a social group that has a common national or cultural background. So think of Japanese, Hispanic, Hawaiian, you get it. Whereas to be a certain race is to be defined by physical traits regarded as common among people of shared ancestry. So you can think of like white, black, Asian, so on. And to be very clear, I think the concept of race itself is moronic, but unfortunately it is the best that we have right now. As an example on why it's important to separate the two and to get my point across, without using the word black, what words would you use to describe me based on my appearance and the way that I speak? If this video reaches more people than I'm expecting it to, especially if it reaches people who reside in the same country as I do, I would expect a lot of you to use the phrase African American.
Weird pause.
You'd be wrong. Black, but I'm not African American.
Yep.
I'm like entirely Hispanic. The majority
Really?
of my relatives.
Oh, I was about to say he's just.
For like the last 2 to 3 generations.
He's not. I don't want to get
Spanish-speaking
too
countries
political,
in
man.
the Caribbean. I was born in the U.S., but most of my family doesn't even know.
He's a black. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. He's a black American.
Statement. Someone can have dark skin like mine or curly hair like mine and not be considered black, but because of my specific combination of traits, I fall into that category. But if you're not from a part of the world where
well, people who would, initially look at him, they would think he's, just black.
This is a concept that I struggled with a lot when I was younger, and like I'm black, so I understand where people were coming from when they get things confused, but it's still upsetting. In the U.S., black and African American are used interchangeably. People expect me to identify with certain things and act in a specific way because I look like people who come from a specific place in their minds.
Right.
And I get shit from both sides of the aisle. In my country, a lot of non-black people discriminate against me because of the color of my skin, obviously. But a lot of black people discriminate against me because I sound
like
He's not just explaining what racism is to normal people. What he's doing is illustrating the difference between ethnicity and race, and how there's a difference between the cultural and geographical background that you're from, like your ancestry is, and just your physical outward appearance.
Wait, so does that mean that if someone would move to Japan, if someone else black, wait, I mean, because I was listening to him and it honestly sounds like the same fucking thing, because he said, describing ethnicity as, Japanese, but then saying race as Asian, or vice versa. And obviously to most people it's the same fucking thing. So if a black or white person were to move to Japan, just like PewDiePie, and if they identify with that culture, ethnically they are Japanese.
And
I want to answer that in the comments below if you made it this far.
Why in a game like FF16 that there wouldn't just be some people with a little bit different outward appearances, that they're not all pasty pale white. It doesn't mean that like they all have to be like there has to be a ton of Asian people, there has to be a ton of black people, there has to be a ton of, it's not saying that. It's just saying that in the places where that would make sense. Like if it's a desert and it's really hot and people are getting the sun all the time, well maybe they should be more tan in that situation, right? Anyway.
I can't win.
Yeah, isn't that little village in 14 with the Makotes, like that sandy village? Aren't they like more tan?
Because of their physical traits.
Yeah.
But both of these expectations are wrong because physical traits do not account for culture.
There you
We
go.
get really specific about it. Yes, black people share a common ancestor, but that doesn't mean that they themselves come from a specific place or act a specific way. In all likelihood, they
Okay.
take from the same culture. Mind you, that's not to say that black culture doesn't exist, but it is to say that black culture doesn't simply stem from one location. Black culture is a culture that stems from people of similar traits and backgrounds being discriminated against for those traits. It's not a culture that stems from a physical location because, again, it stems from race, not ethnicity. And even then, that's not what most people are asking you to include when they ask you to include black characters and black traits. The point that I'm getting to is that when people ask for black traits and black representation in video games, like oddly enough, the majority of the time they only want you to go skin deep. Not asking for like the token black character.
That's all we're gonna get.
And the token black voice coming from the token black place or anything like that. We want skin tones that make sense. We want hair that makes sense. And yes, we'd love to see you include aspects of cultures that are predominantly black more often.
Aren't the people from Alamigo, aren't most of them tan skin? Looking at the homie Rabon. I mean the homie, he just looks black to me. I don't know, maybe they got some like pale folks in Alamigo as well. In Albert. Yeah, he was like Redbone. It's been so long since I've gone to Little Alamigo. Not Little Alamigo, but Alamigo in general. Or Rygar's Reach. Fuck. I have to see that in game. I'm pretty sure like most of them there are like
things into a narrative just for the sake of diversity. Because neither part.
That's another thing. That's another thing that I'm really glad that he brought up too. Like diversity in games should not be treated as a check mark, like a quota, like this.
Zepla, if you notice, what was the whole purpose of this video?
Product feature. That's also really gross, and I feel like that's missing the point entirely. Like what Activision.
It's why Yoshi P.
Like we've all seen it with their like graphs, their diversity graph, where like they check off, well, does this like what kind of traits does this person have that's gonna make?
Bro, it's confusing. Zepla knows this, but she seems oblivious at Yoshi's answers.
Blizzard diversity chart, yeah.
Wow, look at that, man. World of Warcraft. Look what happened to them. Yeah.
It's creepy.
It's almost like Yoshi P doesn't want.
And it misses the entire point.
It's almost like Yoshi P doesn't want, 14 to end up like, wow, that's crazy, man. Look at that diversity, experience, method. Wow, look at that. Wow.
I think that's what I would be asking for. This definitely doesn't sound.
I don't know, Zepla. You're baffled by his answers, so it sounds like you want it.
Your narrative for just that.
Jesus,
we want
man.
you to feel included, and we want you to make sense. Even if you look at it from a strictly logical standpoint, a lot of the time, characters not being black does not make sense. I was thinking about this a lot when playing Stormblood 14.
Oh, okay, we're going to Stormblood.
Characters
Yeah.
from areas like
Okay.
Fanland or
I was just talking about this.
whose families have lived in areas that get beaten down by the Heartshun
Right.
consistently for generations. Why is it that they don't exhibit physical traits that would fall in line with people in the real world who live in similar conditions more often? In the real world, people who come from areas that are consistently exposed to a lot of sunlight are more likely to exhibit traits that make living in sunny environments easier. Namely, dark skin because darker skin protects you from sunlight, and curly hair because it likewise protects you from sunlight. The majority of the time in 14 and other games, they just sort of pop out, you know? Like, they will give characters the lighter shades of brown, but they'll very, very rarely give them the darker one. They'll give you the same over-the-top afro and ugly cornrows in every game, but they won't go, like, any further. And, like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense that people from proud countries with rich traditions like Ul'dah, Sildar, and Almigo don't exhibit these traits prominently and, like, don't even really seem to care about them. And coming back to the interview, I swear I haven't forgotten about it.
Bro, you know what? You know what? Guess what? I played through all of A Realm Reborn all the way to Endwalker, and I never stopped to actually think about that. I was too busy enjoying the game, learning the game, you know, getting my Chocobo Grand Companies, you know, getting the best gear sets, earning gil, going on adventures, learning dungeons, learning how to play tank DPS, and I'm going to try healer eventually. You know, unlocking, you know, Palace of the Dead, going through that was crazy. Checking out the side missions, the Crystal Tower, that was a great one. Remember that? Man, it was like there was it's almost like there was so much things to do that I honestly didn't give a shit. I don't know. I mean, now look, it's so good to have, you know, to think for things to make sense. You know, if you're from a sunny environment, you should be more tan, but I can't believe it, man. I played through. It's been over almost a year. Yeah, it's been over a year since I started Final Fantasy 14, and like I never gave a shit, man. It was like it was almost like I had so many other things to do that I never saw it as that, you know, because, you know, when you're paying a subscription for a game every month, it's like, okay, what can I do to get the most fun out of the game? You know, that's crazy, man. That's wild. That is so trippy. That is so trippy, man.
14, but this interview is about Final Fantasy 16, and unlike a story centered around sunny climates like Thanalan or Garabanya, 16's Valisthea is based on medieval Europe, and placing black characters in the foreground of a setting like this wouldn't make sense. It would make sense for you.
I mean, even if they do, I mean, most likely they would be like, see, you can put them in like prominent roles, but, you know, if you're gonna kind of go kind of realistic in that fantasy element in that fantasy game, and, you know, kind of put them, you know, lower on the scale, and have them, you know, being like discriminated against in video games, like, that's gonna piss off a lot of people. So, like, you know, so it's almost like you can only go one way with diversity, you know. That's crazy, man. Wow, that's so crazy. Like, that's so trippy, guys. Oh my god.
Black people were not uncommon in medieval Europe. It takes like 2 seconds.
I think that is true in like the southern parts of medieval Europe. Probably the further north that you go, there would be less. Like, I think northern parts would be there would be less non-white people running around. But they did exist.
I'm actually gonna look this up, like,
But in
after
the southern parts,
this.
They were definitely well known. They were the Moors.
Seconds to look this up. There were merchants, captains, knights. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
There were
obviously,
traders.
people that exhibit traits that signify that their genetic background
Okay, cool.
from places that receive sunlight would be less common in cultures that reside in areas with.
But again, the whole thing about the medieval shit, oh, that's so stupid. Like, I wouldn't. There's no reason to get into that, and the whole, like, there's absolutely zero reason to engage with that point that he made at all, because it's a non-starter. There was not phoenixes in medieval Europe. It was not Ramu and Shiva.
I don't feel like repeating myself again.
I don't.
Less sun, but like, newsflash, I'm about to blow your mind. Wait until about noon, walk outside to an open area, and this is the crazy part. Look up. 9 times out of 10, sun's there.
I got a fucking ad. Are you serious?
Sun's there. 1/5 of the Earth's landmass is desert. And yes, Europe doesn't necessarily have a true desert, but like it's surrounded by places that do. Also, that doesn't even account for all the other environments that get a lot of sunlight. And there are just a ton of places on Earth that are receiving a lot of sunlight every single day. And logically, if a lot of the planet is receiving tons of sunlight constantly, then a lot of places should be filled with people that look like they come from places that get a lot of sunlight constantly, but they just don't in media. They don't because instead of black traits, physical traits being tied to areas where they likely appear, or just like being common, because, you know, they're pretty damn common, they're tied to the idea that black traits come from black culture and black places. And that doesn't fit the narrative that I'm writing, and it isn't referenced in the historical text that I'm using, so I'm just not going to include it. The question, why
He never said he's not going to include it.
black is asked commonly. But the correct question to be asking is, why shouldn't more characters be black? If they're this common and this prevalent, why are they not appearing more in media? Instead of being what they should be, you know, standard common as dirt for both characters and in-game customization. In the same way that brown and blonde and white hair is, not gray hair, white hair, black traits are commonly an afterthought. We're seen as like an addition instead of part of the fundamental aspects of character building. When artists learn to shade skin, they'll blend together lighter skin tones beautifully. I've seen artists who can draw black skin really, really well, but they'll refrain from drawing black characters because they don't understand how to draw curly hair. If you're going to create a person,
Draw a cloud.
living being from nothing, taking the time to figure out their height, weight, build, stance, place of living, interest, so on and so forth, why are such common traits treated as being foreign? Why is portraying some genetic traits seen as more important than portraying others? Just like black people are erased from history, they're erased from media. Not actively, most of the time. The majority of the time, I don't even think it's done consciously or maliciously, but it still happens, just done passively. We aren't included because we're considered different or additional, when in reality, we've been here the entire time. We're everywhere, but in the media, a lot of the time, we're nowhere. And it doesn't make sense. I may not be getting my point across as eloquently as I'd like to, because...
Yeah, I'm actually listening to the homie. It is a good point.
I think that he's done... Like, I think that he has done a really good job of getting his point across about, like, why aren't there more darker skinned characters in situations where it would make sense? Why isn't it more common? And he also acknowledged, you know, it's not always done maliciously. It's not always done consciously. And I don't think that Yoshi P...
Is it because when breaking down the analytics of the genre of fantasy, is it maybe because there's such a small percentage of black people that consume that kind of media? I don't know this for sure, but I would think that, okay, people kind of make media based around the fan base that's kind of in it at times. Now again, of course there's black people that consume like the media of fantasy. There's me, you know, other people. But like honestly, are we that big of a... I wonder if we're big enough in that base to say, hey, you know, this warrants some more black characters for, you know, these people that are in our base, when we may be such a tiny percentage. Because, you know, the average black person in the West, when you think about an average black person in the West, you don't really, you also, I mean, and I guess this is kind of more of a bias, kind of more of a prejudiced view, but you kind of almost don't really see them as kind of consuming fantasy as a media outlet. You know, you don't really see, I don't know. So I'm saying that could be a contributing factor, because obviously you want to appease the people who are buying your shit at the end of the day. So I don't know, like, cause see, I also, as you guys, I don't know if you guys can see, but I collect comic books. Well, I mean, I buy comic books. I still need to read this one. But I have a lot of comic books over here, and every time that, make sure that doesn't fall. Every time that I go to the comic book store on Wednesdays for like new releases, it's like I'm like the only black guy in there, and this is like a pretty big store full with comics. So there could be. I'm not saying, you know, that, of course, I'm not the only one that goes to that store. I'm pretty sure every black person that consumes that media goes to that little, you know, comic book store. But I'm sure if you were to sit back, look at the entire security camera from when the shop opens to when the shop closes, I'm pretty sure you're gonna find just more white people who are more lighter skinned, who just eat that kind of media. I don't know if that's a factor, but I'm just thinking. I mean, it is a good argument that this guy's making. Like, I like his argument more than Zepla's. Like, this guy's actually making fucking sense. I like this guy.
Say that there was. We don't know the extent. I just want to clarify that again. But assuming that there is zero, I don't know if he is doing that. I definitely do not think that he would be doing that consciously or maliciously.
Actually, 640.
I thought it was just a fantastic video. It was a fantastic discussion about the difference between.
No, this was not fantastic. This was a waste of my fucking time. I could have been looking more. I could have been doing more reactions of Warcraft.
A great deal of understanding and compassion to Yoshi P. Not acting like Yoshi P is out here trying to be racist or anything. There's another perspective that I wanted to share here before we leave this topic.
Oh God.
That was from our good friend Brian Ricardo.
Never heard of him.
Ricardo is the PvP guy in Final Fantasy community. He's been amazing. I did interviews with him in the past. He helped me learn how to be better at PvP. He's well loved and appreciated person in our community, and he shared his thoughts on this as well that I wanted to share. He said, "This is an unfortunate read. I love the Final Fantasy series. It's been a big part of my life, and I think Yoshi P is awesome. However, let me try to explain why this is bad. Medieval setting is a silly reason." This is the worst thing that Yoshi said. "In a world where people ride on yellow birds." Yes, it was very stupid for him to say that. "The developers have a chance to create any type of world. It's an executive decision to make a world of characters with European beauty standards." That's
bro, every one of these motherfuckers have like Japanese eyes. Like, sure, you may say they're pale, so they resemble kind of like white people, but bro, look at their eyes. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching.
It's done even in games without the medieval settings. It's about money and not taking risks. Let's face it, if the world was like a fantasy version of Africa, or the main character happened to be a brown-skinned person, how many people would say woke culture or forced diversity? There's no win in this situation because people actively fight against diversity.
Yes, and do you know why? Do you know fucking why? For all these people who are wondering why people fight against diversity, let me explain the reason why. Because at the beginning of the woke movement, you jackasses decide to fuck up the shit for everyone, for every ethnicity, for every race, every POC. I don't know if I can say ethnicity, because after hearing that guy's argument, it kind of makes, he made valid points. You guys fucked it up. You guys, people who are woke, people who want this shit, this focus on diversity, fuck shit. People who do this, people who... Let me calm down. People who actively fight for diversity has systematically stuck their dick down the throats of everyone, trying to force them to just to eat it. And the majority of them just reject the shit. Now, some of them, a lot of them, they got some good reflexes. They swallowed the babies. But a lot of them reject it. A lot of them reject the simple premise. All you guys had to do before this whole woke movement started, tell great stories with black characters, like how they were doing in the early 20s when we had Blade and such for Marvel, Storm, X-Men, like things that weren't forced in. But see, when you guys force things in to check a box, when you have companies saying, hey, we need this and this and this on a checklist, now you're forcing things in, and people don't like when you force things down their throats. You guys fucked it up for everyone, for every POC that you've been fighting for. You fucked them in the ass. No lube. Fucking morons.
People who vocalize that they don't care are not helpful to changing this standard.
Yes, it
I heard
is.
a big streamer say they'll probably have side characters or DLC for diverse characters in the future. That's how normal.
You guys have shit the bed. These people, the people who are woke, these woke motherfuckers, they're Amber Heard, man. They completely shit the bed.
They clearly do. That's why it is like this. This is about wanting better for Square Enix, because in reality the world is diverse. So yeah, that's it. It's a complicated issue. There's some nuance to it. It's easy to get upset about it. It's been controversial, but I think that if you just cool your jets and think about it in terms of like, how can in general, in game media overall, without getting hung up about FF16 in particular, or hung up about Yoshi P in particular, like how could we see worlds that are reflecting what would make sense, that is common for us to see in the real world, right? The last thing I'll say about this is that this is something that matters a lot because I grew up
The hell? Preach me to God.
in a world where racism was prevalent, and I mean hardcore fucking racism. Like most people have probably never seen in their lives. I grew
Wait, what did Zepla say?
in a world where
Wait.
the KKK was very active.
Wait. Let me go back.
I grew up, and I mean hardcore fucking racism to me because I grew up in a part of the world where racism was prevalent, and I mean hardcore fucking racism.
Wait, where's Zepla from? Where's Zepla from? She sometimes talks with an accent, so I know she's somewhere down south. Where's Zepla from? Where was she born at?
Most people have probably never seen in their lives. I grew up in a part of the world where the KKK was very active, where they were passing out flyers at people's houses,
Where? I'm not saying Zepla's lying, but she's... Wait, 1 second. Fuck. See, because I don't want to say anything without... I don't want to say anything without having the facts. I just would like to know... How old is Zepla? Hold on. Let's see. 1 second. Bro, no fucking way. Zepla's 42. Wait. No fucking way. This kid is 42. I thought this kid was 28. Okay, hold on. Alright. Hold on. Okay, she was born in the 80s. I wanna... Where did she grow up? Where? Oh, hold on. Where is she from? Where is she fucking from? I know she was born in the United States, but where is she from? Okay. Her official tweet says she's from Louisiana. Okay. She's from Louisiana. Okay, so I knew she was somewhere down south. And she's 42. That's incredible. Louisiana. of course, I'm not saying she's lying. I mean, she lived her life, you know, in down there. So, I mean, when she was able to see this, she would have to be in her 20s to like understand. Let's say early teens to 20s. So she was born in 1984. So she, yeah, okay, 1980. So let's say 20 years. That'll be 2000, the year 2000, about. See, I don't know. See, like, I'm also in the South, but I don't know how things are in Louisiana. To see actual clan member, bro. I don't know. I mean, isn't that? I would think that if that was the case, no one in Louisiana. Why was this never reported? What?
People would brag that their grandfather had a KKK robe and stuff like that. So
let's go off the premise that
this is. How ugly it can get. It's fucking disgusting to me, and that's the reason why. I pay closer attention to these kinds of issues. With that said, I do want to
even though you shouldn't, you honestly shouldn't.
Time that it's good to have compassion and like not just fly off the handle with knee-jerk reactions anytime anything is like vaguely touching the issue of race and say, oh, that person is racist. Okay, Yoshi P is not racist. He's not. Yeah, it's very nice. He's not.
Yo, and the craziest part is, like, you know, a lot of these people who defend people of color, defend and like bash racism and all that shit. A lot of them, I found out that a lot of them never really ever have a black friend or a friend of color. That's crazy. That is so crazy. Like, they fight for the people they're not even friends with. But I'm not saying that's Zepla. I'm saying I've seen a lot of people that do that shit. It's weird. Okay, we're finally through.
I do not think that they are. I really don't. And the people trying to say that are way off base. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. Now that I'm done talking about it.
Okay. All right. Fuck. I know. Oh my god, this video is an hour long. Fucking ad. Okay. All right. Look, man. Again, I think obviously it's good that you should have some diversity. Whereas, okay, you're including different races, you're including different cultures. You get to learn, you get to grow. That's how you grow as a person, you know, by being exposed to different things. That's what's so cool about diversity. You should have those things. But the thing is, this diversity movement is botched. I honestly don't think it can be saved. I honestly don't think that. I don't think it can be. I don't think it can recover from this, man. From the whole woke movement, from this forced diversity that we've seen time and time in games, in movies. When even if you put in one black person, man, like, people, they're gonna look at it sideways. Like, even me, and I'm black, I'm gonna say, like, oh, is this a fucking token? Are they just doing this just to check the box, or is this the best person for that role? Like, it's like that. The people who want diversity the most, they fuck diversity up for everyone. Look how funny that is. Look how things work out at the end of the day. Now look, I understand that, you know, Zepla was confused at the premise of Yoshi saying, you know, this is gonna have some, they're gonna have some medieval, like, it's the feel of it is gonna be like, you know, medieval Europe. And of course, I'm not saying that, because again, I have to say this again, but most likely you guys aren't gonna, a lot of people aren't gonna, you know, watch this, so that's cool. So I can just rant, you know. It's kind of good to go off the brain like this. I like this, but I'm not saying that, you know, there wasn't any, you know, black people, Asian people in, you know, medieval Europe. But I'm believing Yoshi P is just going off the most prevalent group, and he's really trying to tiptoe that line of diversity very carefully, because I believe as a gamer, Yoshi P is based in his in his assumption of the notion that, hey, if you put too much diversity in, if you shove this shit down people's throats, they're going to reject it. And sometimes that's worse than the feedback that you get for not having enough diversity in some cases. Because I mean, now you're pissing off the people that particularly buy your stuff because, hey, they like it for the story or whatever. Now see, like, just like the homie said that Zepla was reacting to, if you put too much diversity in, then the narrative suffers. I'm losing it, man. Like, my mouth is dry. I've never talked this long before in my fucking life. So again, diversity is great. I think you should have diversity. You know, see other things, explore, you know, other things, see other cultures. But I think diversity in 2022 is botched. I just don't think it can recover. Like, there's been too many damning evidence to save it, and I don't know how they're gonna fix it. Remember, like, the last great movie before, I think, the woke era, Tropic Thunder. You guys remember that? You guys remember how Robert Downey Jr. dressed up as a black guy? I don't remember, but see, I wasn't as involved as I am now with, you know, all the gaming journalists and movie journalists. I don't remember people being upset at that movie for him doing that. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But I never saw any backlash from it on YouTube or anywhere else. And if anything's going to be, you know, if anything's going to be scrutinized, it's going to be on YouTube. So, again, I probably missed it. But that was like the last great movie that you can, like, really do some, like, off the wall weird shit. Like, and even in that, they had diversity. They had, like, actual black people in that. I don't know, man. I don't think you can save diversity in 2022. Because, like I said, if once you put it in, even a tiny bit, people are gonna look at you sideways, unless it's like Black Panther or something, where it's like, you know, this, you know, I don't know. This has been kind of a waste of time. Now look, if you guys enjoy, you know, having your diversity, feeling as though you need to look like a character to relate with them, then hey, I'm happy for you, and I hope that you have more prominent characters that look like you. I'm a guy that goes off, okay, what is this person like on the inside? Like, what are their morals, their values, their, like, the shit that's important, things that are in here, like right there in the heart. That's what I relate to more. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. Is it like conditioning, or, you know, because obviously we've seen more white and pale looking characters. So is that maybe a some kind of conditioning? Let me know. But I've never, like, really related to someone on a skin deep level. I don't know. But see, it's getting too political, and I don't want to go down that road. This video has been long enough. If you guys watch all of this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm getting out of here, man. Let's see if Final Fantasy is gonna go the way of World of Warcraft with their, you know, diversity checklists. No, they did that shit for fucking Overwatch. Yeah, let's see if they're gonna go that way. Well, also in World of Warcraft with covering up some, you know, the booba and such. So, let's see if I doubt it, because, like I said, Yoshi P is base, so we'll see. I don't think after building up something for 10 years they would knock it down. But then World of Warcraft. But, you know, again, Yoshi P, he's Japanese, man. He's base, so he has big nuts. We'll see. Take care. Bye bye.